What if the moon fell to Earth? Tonight, look up. It's there. It has always been there. Hanging in the darkness like something that was never meant to be explained, only accepted. You've seen it 1,000 times. You've never once thought it could move. But here's what no one tells you. The moon is moving. Right now. Every single year, it drifts approximately 3.8 centimeters further away from Earth, slowly, silently, as if it's trying to leave. But what if something reversed that? What if, instead of drifting away, it started falling toward us? Most people imagine it like a movie, a giant rock descending from the sky, dramatic music, people running, a single catastrophic impact. That's not what would happen. The reality is far stranger, far more terrifying, and it begins not with a collision, but with silence. The moon is currently 384,000 kilometers away. At that distance, its gravitational pull is gentle enough to move oceans, slowly, predictably, in rhythms that life on Earth has adapted to over billions of years. But gravity is not constant. It scales with distance. As the moon began to fall, even slightly closer, the tides would change. Not dramatically at first, just wrong. Fishermen would notice it first, tides arriving too early, retreating too far. Coastal animals behaving strangely, as if sensing something the instruments hadn't yet confirmed. The ocean knows before we do. Here is where science reveals something deeply unsettling. There is an invisible boundary around Earth called the Roche limit, sitting approximately 18,470 kilometers from our surface. It's not a wall, it's not marked on any map, but it is one of the most consequential lines in the known universe. If the moon crosses it, the moon does not hit Earth. The moon disintegrates. At that proximity, Earth's tidal forces would become stronger than the gravitational cohesion holding the moon together. It would begin to break apart, slowly at first, then completely. A world that has existed for 4.5 billion years, reduced to fragments. And those fragments would form a ring. Not like Saturn's rings, distant, beautiful, harmless. This ring would be made of debris the size of mountains, orbiting Earth at terrifying speed, constantly raining down on the surface in an endless bombardment that could last thousands of years. We would not survive to see it become beautiful. But let's go back, because long before the moon reaches that boundary, we are already gone. When the moon reaches roughly half its current distance, still 192,000 kilometers away, the tides would be 8 times more powerful, not metaphorically, mathematically. The gravitational pull scales with the inverse square of distance. 8 times. Coastal cities would flood twice daily under waves that current seawalls were never designed to withstand. London, New York, Shanghai, Mumbai, not destroyed in one moment, eroded, flooded, abandoned in a slow catastrophe that governments would struggle to even name. The ocean does not announce its intentions. It simply arrives. And here is something the physics cannot measure. Humans have worshipped the moon for as long as we have been human. It regulated our calendars. It pulled the tides that fed coastal civilizations. Ancient cultures built temples oriented to its cycles. The word month comes from the moon. Watching it grow larger in the sky, night after night, would create a kind of collective psychological unraveling that history has no precedent for. Not panic, something quieter. A shared, species-wide recognition that the universe has changed the rules. that the thing we assumed was permanent was never guaranteed. There is a specific kind of terror in watching something inevitable approach slowly, not a sudden explosion, just closer, every night, a little larger, a little brighter. The last humans would not be running, they would be watching. Meanwhile, beneath the surface, something else would be happening. The moon's increasing gravitational pull would not just affect the oceans, Earth's crust itself would begin to flex. Tidal forces would stretch and compress the solid ground, triggering earthquakes along fault lines that had been dormant for centuries. Volcanic systems pressurized by crustal stress would begin to activate. The atmosphere would be disturbed, wind patterns would shift, weather systems built over millions of years of planetary stability would become unpredictable. Earth would begin to shake itself apart from the inside, while the sky fell from the outside. If somehow the moon reached Earth intact, crossing the Roche limit as a unified body, the impact would release energy roughly 100 billion times more powerful than the asteroid that ended the dinosaurs. The surface temperature would exceed that of the sun's photosphere. The oceans would vaporize, not boil, vaporize within hours. The atmosphere would be stripped away by the shock wave of collision. What remains would not be Earth. It would be a molten, spinning mass of merged planetary rock, slowly cooling over millions of years into something new, something without memory of what had been here before. We live our entire lives assuming the moon will stay. And it will, for now, in our lifetime, in our children's lifetime, in every lifetime we can meaningfully imagine, the moon will remain exactly where it appears to be, distant, reliable, beautiful in its constancy. But the universe does not operate on human timescales. And what the moon teaches us, if we are willing to really look at it, is that every stable thing we have ever known exists because of precise, fragile conditions that were never guaranteed. The distance is right, the mass is right, the orbit is right. Change one variable, just one, and everything we have ever built, loved, feared, or remembered disappears without a trace. The moon is not just a light in the sky. It is a reminder of how thin the margin is. Tonight, look up. It's still there, for now.